Hi, I'm Dominic. Thanks for watching Dominic's Woodworks. And today I want to talk to you about my mini lathe. I don't know whether mini lathe is the actual name of the thing or the kit. It's sold by Wolfcraft and out of stock for a while now, but you can still get some via eBay or other sites like that. And you probably know that I don't own a lathe, a proper lathe at least. And I want to see how far I can go with this one. So let me show you what it's all about. So this is the setup. This is my corded drill. It actually comes with impact or hammer action, but you should turn that off when doing lathe work. The kit consists of this holder. It holds the drill by a standard, I think it's 43 millimeters. At least it's standard around here. Collar. There's an Allen screw to hold it in place, and this is not going anywhere. Then there's the tailstock. It has a live center, and you can move it back and forth with this, and of course fasten it to wherever you need it. And there's the tool rest, which can be moved in several directions, including the height. You can see I bought mine used already. I mounted the whole thing on a piece of 2x4, which is screwed and glued to two scrap pieces of plywood, here and here, which in turn gets screwed here to a T-nut in my workbench, so it's pretty sturdy. And there's also a faceplate, which would of course go in there, and then this part, minus the actual live center, would go on here to keep the whole thing steady. I haven't tried faceplate turning yet. That's something I want to tackle in the future, but for now. And just so we're clear, I'm not a professional turner. I'm not a professional woodworker in the professional sense anyway, but what I'm aiming at is that I'm using shop-made tools. I don't actually own any proper turning tools. If something I do does not conform to any important safety regulations, let me know, but it's what I'm doing. I bear the risk. I wear the face shield. If you don't feel comfortable coming along on this journey, then by all means don't. Let me know why if you feel so inclined, but you have been warned. I try not to lose any important body parts. Shop-made tools. I have sharpened these two chisels. I like this one. It's maybe one that I found in the attic. And I have sharpened it here on my grindstone with the coarse and the fine. It's probably a little blunt for sharpening purists, but it works, or has worked so far, so I probably won't complain. What have I made so far? This kit should have come with a spur, but the one I bought didn't have that, and I still had an old one, but I grew to dislike it because it kept on scratching grooves into the piece and it wouldn't hold it. So I decided to make my own screw chuck. Or at least I think that's what they're called. You put it in here, tighten it, and then you screw something on there. How did I make it? I took a bolt, and you probably should shorter ones. This was quite wasteful, but I intend to use the remaining pieces. I cut it off here and here with a hacksaw. Rounded over these both ends on the grindstone and made sure that the thread would start gently so I could put something on there with ease. So today I'll show you how I made this very rough roughing gouge.
I have several dull chisels, so I pick one that seemed to work size-wise and take it to the grinder. At first I grind a weld till the bevel is completely gone, keeping it perpendicular to the wheel. Then I set it at an angle, arbitrary one, and add a bevel all around. Every now and then, whenever I think the tip gets too hot, I dip it into a water reservoir to cool it down. Now for the fun part. I've had this dowel for a while. I think it was meant to be a table leg at some point. I've drilled a pilot hole for the screw chuck and turned it in using pliers. Of course I have mounted it so that it's not really spinning true. That was by design. Seriously. And as it happens, this is a good test in itself, truing up the cylinder. I start with a new roughing gouge, but it goes a little slow. So I switch to the larger chisel to get the work done. Now follows the actual test. I want to turn 2 grooves. I know there's a technical term for that, but since I was kinda eyeballing it, I did not know what I would end up with. So first, using the chisel. This is rather unwieldy for this kind of feature. Tilting it in order to get a smaller groove is probably not the best way to do it anyway. And the smaller chisel does not fare any better. Then comes the one with the roughing gouge. It appears to go slower but also smoother, and does not need to be tilted, just angled to cut a nice and smooth groove. Apparently I skipped with one of the chisels at some point and made this spiral, which I will have to remove before I can start sanding. There's another problem I found with this setup. It has nothing to do with the mini lathe as it is. My drill has these air vents, and you can see from the way the chips are blown that they vent just fine. I did not anticipate this, but working in the airflow was pretty uncomfortable for my hands. So I'm making an improvised screen, not to block but to redirect the air, using the top of a CD or DVD spindle. I cut it to size on the bandsaw and attach it using tape. Much better. After my first experiment using softwood, I then made this little candle holder from walnut with a piece of plywood in the middle. For the next time I will definitely try to remove as much material as possible on, say, the table saw. I had to sharpen my tools frequently and took to leaving the grinder running while I turned. But it turned out alright, pun intended, and I put this up on Etsy if you're interested. I'm trying to get into selling stuff, so I consider this a test balloon.
I don't know if you can tell, but I'm pretty happy with the results. I just really need to take a little more care with my blanks, because if you can see, there's a lot to take off. And to keep the plywood centered, it's a learning experience. And like I said, I'm selling this one on Etsy and I plan to make a few more. I have never sold any woodworking items, so something new to try. If you're interested, I'll put a link to my Etsy shop in the end card and in the description. I'm always open to suggestions. Or international shipping if necessary. I'll show you a few pictures of the candle holder because I already took it out of my shop. This is, as you know, a pretty dangerous place for wood. And I hope you enjoyed this first foray into my mini lathe adventures. I have a few more ideas in mind on what to make, things to try, so there will be other videos dealing with the mini lathe. It's a pretty small investment, and if you already have a good drill, I recommend a corded one, then this is probably a good solution until you can or want to afford a proper lathe. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Give this video a comment and a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Love to hear why you gave me a thumbs down if you did. Share the video with your friends if you think they can get some value out of it or have a laugh. And remember to be inspired. Well, I think this piece turned out great. This is going to be my favorite pun ever.